Hello and welcome to another episode of The Writing Finger. I am your host, Subramani, and as always, today I'm joined by my fellow author and book nerd, Ashwin Karthik. Hi, Ashwin.
Hello, Subbu. How are you?
Yeah, yeah, I'm doing fine. So today we've got something very interesting on the occasion of the forthcoming International Women's Day, and today we have taken up a very different sort of a topic, which is Mahabharata. And why we have taken up this topic is because of the myths and misinterpretations surrounding Mahabharatas and its stories, and also the fact that there was a an author who wrote about the story of the Draupadi with all distortions and total falsehood, because she's not true to the text, the original text of Mahabharata, and a lot of misinterpretations. And then I think her perverse imagination that's kind of made the book not worth reading for someone who respects the scriptures and the itihasas. What do you say, Ashwin?
To add to what you said, also, for someone who has read the original text and believes that these epics were not just imaginary stories, they are a part of the history of India.
Absolutely.
Uh, yes,
Absolutely. And see, there's a disclaimer that we need to put here before we start, that we're not, we resent the idea of, this
demeaning
politics, the left and right, and so on and so forth, the historical, whatever way people are trying to describe people like us. We want to be true to the text. We want to be true to the original Mahabharata. That's all the purpose of this podcast, and that's all
yes,
that we are going to talk about here. And also, I think there is a sense of responsibility for people like us who have read the text to kind of dispel the misunderstandings surrounding certain
misunderstand, yes.
events in Mahabharata. Okay, so with that caveat, let's get into the show, Ashwin. The first thing that we should talk about is what is called the divine conception and the divine origins of the main characters of Mahabharata. So this has been a topic of contention because a lot of people are saying that, how can one woman kind of have give birth to five different men with five different personalities or devatas. Okay, so
Yes,
that in itself is a problem in understanding of the whole thing. And even before that, there's this the origin of Veda Vyasa, which is again misinterpreted as a sort of a physical union between a rishi and what do you call a
um,
fisherwoman, and then
fisherwoman.
but I think that there's nothing farthest from the truth. So let us set that straight first. And if you look at the story of Rishi Parasara is wanting to cross the river, and then Matsyaganti or Satyavati, who's actually uh, uh,
A
the woman,
fisherwoman.
the fisherwoman who's rowing the boat,
The
uh,
princess of the fisher
the fisher folk,
community.
yeah, community,
Yes.
and then he kind of sits in the boat, and then when the process of crossing the river starting to happen, uh, he feels a bit of an attraction to this woman. And as a true brahmachari, he's asking himself, why this distortion? Because he's not used to this. He's not someone who's easily fall for, this biological urges. But at that time, he gets a divine intuition that says, it's not your fault. This is the sign that the divine incarnation is going to take place, and you need to play a part in that.
And
And
also, just to add to what you said,
yeah,
that intuition came to him because it was Satyavati's destiny.
it
She
was
was
Satyavati's destiny. Yes, yes.
she was
See,
the chosen one
he was the chosen one.
to
Yes,
actually play a part
yes.
in the incarnation of
Lord
Vedavyasa
Vishnu.
himself,
Yes,
who is, as you said, the incarnate of Lord Vishnu. Yeah.
Vishnu. So what happens is when this process is going on, Mahabharata, the text of Mahabharata says Vyasa manifested himself. It uses the word
Yes.
Abirbhava. Abirbhava is basically coming into being.
Yes.
He's manifesting himself.
Manifestation.
Yeah,
Yes.
not see if it's a biological union, then the logic would be that this woman get pregnant and
Hmm.
then she gives birth to a child. That's not how it
Child.
happens. He
Yes.
comes as a 16-year-old boy.
Hmm.
His first appearance in Mahabharata is as a 16-year-old boy, and he does his pranams to his parents because this is the law of the earth, or of the human world, that you should have a man and a woman to be born. So
Yeah.
the divinity chooses these two to actually manifest itself in a divine way, not in a physical way, not in a physical, biological, reproductive way. So
Hmm.
that's when that's how Vyasa is born. Vyasa
And
plays
also,
his pranams, and then
again, again, to just debunk the misunderstandings,
yes.
even when you say a child has to be born, it 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 takes 9 months, and that process cannot
It cannot happen
happen on a boat.
on a boat. It doesn't happen like that. Okay. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I don't know. People lose all kinds of logics when they misinterpret this particular aspect of Mahabharata. But anyway, Vyasa pays his pranams, and then Parasara makes does Upanayanam to him, and puts him puts a sacred thread on him, and then he tells Vyasa tells Satyavati that when you think of me, I'll come. Okay. See, look at this woman called Satyavati. Satyavati has the power to decide the destiny and the future of the Kuru Vamsa.
Hmm.
So when we talk about women being oppressed, depressed, and women being in sort of disrespected or dehumanized, I think all the modern whatever the sociologists and the feminists and whatnot, all of them are getting it basically wrong. Okay, so she has the power to manifest the God himself when she's in crisis. That's what he said. When you are in crisis, you just think of me, I'll manifest in front of you. Okay. So that's number one. So I think this has this is being decisively dispelled by Mahabharata itself. We are just giving you
Just
the
to
facts.
take it a step further, it's a modern misinterpretation that India is the land where women are always oppressed.
Definitely not.
People
We are given
people
equal.
fail
Yeah.
people fail to understand that even in the from the ancient times, it
Yes.
is always the woman who was given the greatest respect, and even in the shlokas of Sanskrit, we have said that where the prosperity exists where
Mm.
only the
Women.
women are respected.
Incidentally, see when the churning of the Milky Ocean happens, and
Yes.
when Lakshmi follows, she comes out of the Milky Ocean, followed by Kamadhenu.
Hmm.
Then she looks at all the 33 crore devas, and then
Yes.
she's being asked to choose a husband. She
Yes.
chooses the Lord, Vishnu
Yes.
himself. Okay. Again, the scriptures are saying that women have the power to choose their husbands.
Exactly.
All right.
And
So that's
that
being very
is,
well established even in Mahabharata.
yes.
Okay, we'll
Yes.
come to that part. So before that, we will get into the Immaculate Conception. See, the concept of Immaculate Conception is in Bible, and before
Hmm.
you find this in Bible, it was in Mahabharata. And
Yeah.
we know the story of Kunti and the birth of the five Pandavas and Karna.
Yeah.
Okay, so Durvasa, as a gift to Kunti, uh, for serving him so well, gives these mantras. Okay, these mantras are specifically uttered to conceive the divine essence of the goddess to which they are addressed.
yes.
Okay. So what happens is Kunti wants to test the whole thing. Kunti was just 12 years when this happened. Kunti was just 12, and then she wanted to see whether Durvasa is actually giving her the mantras that have the powers that they're supposed to have, or is he just
And it was something natural that any
any child would do.
teenager,
You give it a
yeah,
toy.
would do. Yeah,
You give a child a toy, a remote controlled airplane. The first thing the child does is to test it,
test it.
test ride it.
Yes,
Give a motorbike or something to a boy. He wants to
yeah,
test ride it. So that's what she does is basically she manifests. She invokes Lord Surya,
so
sun god.
yes,
Sun
thank
god
God.
manifests in front of her, and Kunti doesn't know what to ask. Kunti was very hesitant at that time.
He was overwhelmed.
No,
He
Surya,
was,
God, the sun god, Lord Surya says, "Look, child, you called me, and if you call me with this mantras, there's only one purpose,
yeah,
which is to give you a child."
thank
And
God.
then he blesses her. Nowhere in Mahabharata you find, there was a physical union.
You
And the
know,
Devatas, the divine beings, never have physical union. Never. So as a result, what happens is that he blesses her with a child and disappears. Okay.
yes,
And that is how she gives birth. And I tell you that there's a stupidest of interpretations. I don't know which of the authors, but you know them. I don't want to name any of them, but you know them. One of them has written that Yudhishthira is born because Vidura's union with Kunti. Why? Because
so
Vidura is actually is an incarnation of
of
Dharmaraja. So
Dharmaraja,
and then
yes,
Yudhishthira is called Dharma. So you know I don't know. What do you think? There can't be anything so I mean so
I mean,
demeaning and so bad actually. It's just
yeah,
very dirty.
it is a total failure of how facts can be misinterpreted,
It
right?
can be. It is misinterpreted. Yes.
Because though Vidura was an incarnate of Dharma himself,
Yes.
Vidura was a person, and
No, he stands
Yudhishthira,
by the dharma that he
yes,
preaches. He doesn't,
yes,
he's not shown to be
hmm,
in flout in violation of the dharmas, the dharmic laws that he himself
hmm,
professing. And this the same author foolishly writes that every time there is a problem, Vidura favors dharma among the
hmm.
Pandavas. That never happens in Mahabharata. Nowhere. In fact,
Nowhere,
every time
yeah,
he goes and invites the family on behalf of Dhritarashtra, you see that he addresses all of the Pandavas. He doesn't address Dharmaputra himself. He addresses all of the
yes,
Pandavas.
yeah,
Right?
and
Okay.
as saying Your Majesty or Maharaj Yudhishthira, he invites them as the representative of Dhritarashtra
Dhritarashtra himself, yeah. And then
only. That is
he
all.
wants them. There are occasions when he wants them. For example, when he's called for the dice game, they are actually it's a ruse that they're actually having a Graha Pravesha
Hmm.
of the Kaurava court. And then he's that's an excuse, that's a ruse. And then
Yeah.
they're sending Vidura to invite. Vidura actually cautions Dharmaputra, saying that
Hmm.
look, your uncle is calling you because he wants to actually entice you into a dice game and then take the whole kingdom. Okay, and he tells this to the whole of the Pandavas. He's not telling just the Dharmaputra himself. Okay, so that's a misinterpretation. Okay, now let's move on to another contentious topic. Okay, another thing that comes out of this episode is that women in the ancient times had the power to decide, you know, when or how to have their children. Okay,
Yeah.
we're talking about family planning today. I think way back, the the power or the ability to give birth or to decide when to give birth was with women. That's what you
Yes.
understand from Kunti's stories.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I mean, this should make the feminists happy, but you know what? They never get happy with anything
Hmm.
that is traditional. That's another story for another day. Uh, the third, of course, is the most contentious of all, which is Draupadi. Draupadi has been very, very misunderstood and misinterpreted character. And especially when you look at books like The Palace of Illusion, written by Chitra Devakaruni, which is full of distortions, which is full of very demeaning portrayal of the real Mahabharata, the real story, which is very very uh, what do I say? I mean, it's very misleading on the whole. Because let's listen to let's find out what Draupadi's story is actually in Mahabharata, and then let's see. We'll compare when you read and compare it with this book by Devakaruni. You will understand that it is very really bad. Okay, now let's get in.